Manchester United took Sevilla on a couple of days ago, just getting around to obviously talking about reacting to where Martinez went off injured, Varane went off injured. Ten Hag made multiple errors in substitutions, 2-0 up for 45 minutes or 60 minutes, whatever it was. Second half was all Sevilla. First half was all Man United. Bruno Fernandes suspended for the next game. Lamella's shouldn't have been what it was, yellow card is what it was. Should never have been a red card. In people's eyes, people need to understand what he did was an accident. If I'm saying it wasn't a red card, but he got, but people thought he should have got a red card. And I completely disagree with people. Performance-wise, we were shite in the second half. Sabitzer disappeared. Eriksen was mediocre. Sancho's confidence is absolutely abysmal and embarrassing. Anthony's good, but he's a very wasteful player. It doesn't matter how many times you run a player or a person or you try to get past a player. He still needs to work on his right foot. He's really, he's good. He's nothing special at the moment. Until he can consistently, he needs to be able to change how he scores. Constantly going for the exact same thing over and over again. It's backfiring. He's got 4 out of however many 30 odd games this season. He's still the hardest working forward. And he actually does a bit more than, others. But he still does the same stuff as Sancho. He still isn't taking on his player, but Sancho gets beef, but Anthony doesn't. A bit of balance, bit of consistency on when you're insulting players. Vegas is a waste of space. Lang is a waste of space. Pelistri wasn't utilised properly and should never have come on the pitch when we were only 2-0 up. We should have gone to 3-4-0, bringing Martial off, I think, Sancho came off or Anthony came off, whoever came off. It was abysmal thinking. Ten Hag made an absolute error, and now we have to go to Sevilla to win the game. And with all the injuries we've come up with now with Rashford and Shaw and McTominay added to that list, with the FA Cup on the weekend, Sevilla next week, top 4 in the balance because Martinez is not back till next season now. It's going to be very tough to actually sit here and say we can actually win any of these things. And if he finishes out the top 4, doesn't lift the Europa League or the FA Cup, this season will be a failure. Carabao Cup is the weakest trophy of those statuses we're talking about. Europa League gives you Champions League football. Top 4 gives you Champions League football. FA Cup gives you, Community Shield. It's the most prestigious English trophy of the two. And he just fucked up. And I guarantee you now, because he tries to outsmart Sevilla, bring off these players, try to run the clock down. But ultimately, it's backfired now. Injury happened. He has to play full strength next week with the players he has available. No Bruno, no Martinez, and possibly no Varane, and no Shaw, and no Rashford, depending on what we see on the weekend. Absolutely abysmal managing. He's had amazing moments this season, masterclasses, if you will. But at times, he embarrasses himself, ruins his credibility. And he needs to get this out of his system next year. Don't make 3 huge substitutions at once for 3 players. One who barely plays in Elanga. Vegas is shit. And Pelistri, who's not had enough game time to warrant the ability to keep United in this game. And Varane went off at half-time for Maguire. So Maguire is a liability in itself. Just laughable when you think about it. Malacia was shit. He got ripped apart by Navas. Absolutely fantastic player, Navas. I would take him in a heartbeat, instead of who we've got at the moment. To say he's the captain, he's probably the oldest player, the most seniority player. He absolutely is a credit on that pitch, and I can't wait to see, what he does going forward. But yeah, back next week for the second leg. Technically, it's all or nothing match. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but obviously I'll be back tomorrow for Brighton, so stick around for that, of course. Hope you're all excited for that game. I'm going to do my preview very soon, so stick around for that. And of course, let me know down below in the comments your thoughts on the Sevilla United game, and I'll see you from Brighton soon. Goodbye.